All right, guys. Welcome to the Git Bit Podcast, the podcast for blurs and nerds, and for all nerds and all of those fandoms to join. Of course, I host the most of you can. Of course, the man to my right, depending on what name he has came up for this week, Joe. Let's see what you got.
Pulling swords of strange women and fighting against tyranny, it's Joe Tonello.
Okay, I thought he was going to go with the damn it Hank moment, but I'm pretty sure, I guess you're waiting for that in Marvel Zombies. With that being said, guys, before we get started, we are a family-friendly podcast. We do try to watch our language. However, sometimes words do fly. And at the same time, we might be showing things that might be a little intense for younger viewers. So viewer describes, for viewer has been aware that we might show stuff. Sorry, words are leaving me at the moment. But aside from that, welcome. So we're going to go ahead and go into it because we have a lot to cover in a very short amount of time. We apologize for starting late. Things happen in life. But I'm going to let Joe start with this one because he's got to explain Stargirl's episode 5. Because it keeps getting darker, especially with the fact that they introduced paintball and everything else that's going on.
Yeah, paintball's kind of a weird thing with Stargirl. I don't even know where to start with this episode. In all honesty. I just watched it, and I probably feel like I need a second watch through to understand everything entirely.
Okay, because I was watching. I was like, the moment I saw it, I'm like, oh, they're trying to make him the version of paintball. And the fact of the matter is that the Injustice Society is starting to shape up, and she still has her eye on Stargirl's brother, which I still find interesting in the fact that Pat's trying to bring him into the fold.
Well, Sydney's super vindictive and always has been in the thing. So using Mike as the potentially new host for Eclipso, most definitely. Icicle 2 or Icicle Jr., whichever one we want to go with. Mm-hmm. I am still up in the air on if Cameron's going to be a good guy or bad guy for this series. Icicle Jr. is normally a bad guy because Brainwave Jr. has actually always been a good guy until like Kyle Rayner Green Lantern where he went nuts.
Right.
But he was off his meds in that book series. Like they legit say he's off his meds in that book. Like I said, the whole paintball thing kind of threw me. I didn't expect paintball of all things.
I don't think nobody did.
No, it's getting more and more serious. Shade meeting with the mom to say, make sure your daughter's orders are unfair, mm-hmm. and make sure she stays out of my way. This is not a game for children.
Pretty much, but the Shade is kind of warning. He keeps on giving warnings until he's gonna stop giving warnings anymore. He's gonna keep on saying, "Look, this ain't what you want," until finally he says, "Okay, I've warned you enough."
If you read the Starman series, he is not the nicest person, but he is a man of upstanding moral code until other things down the line that is personal for the Shade happens. Mm-hmm. Even to the point where in one issue he goes like, "Oh my God, I have an arch nemesis. Is this what it's like for you guys all the time?"
that realization where he realizes, "Oh, okay, I see why you guys do what you do." But I just
no, that's not why he has no problem being a villain. He's just like, I have an arch nemesis.
It's just the shock factor of it all. It was like that realization of I now know what it feels like to be y'all, I guess, and that's the weird part. But I just thought, like I said, I am digging Stargirl just because of where they're going with it. I figured they had to go dark this season, especially with the summer school edition. So I myself am not complaining. I am thoroughly enjoying it. However, Legends of Tomorrow, guys, I'm going to be very quick about this. It's trash. Constantine is no longer on the show, and I just felt like they really did the character a disservice on Legends of Tomorrow, and the season finale was just trash. Supergirl hasn't gotten any better, so we're gonna wait for this final season to go ahead and shuffle off this mortal coil. I'm sorry, I've had plenty of friends try to sit there and tell me Supergirl was good. I find it heavily hard to agree, considering the fact the ratings are starting to look like Black Lightning ratings in the last season. So there's that. But moving right along, I did want to cover two other things. I did want to cover Titans season 3, episode 7, 51%. All in all, it was a good episode. I did like the fact that Crane needs Red Hood after he tried to sit there and tell him try to show Red Hood and say, you're dispensable with the fact of bringing Lady Vic in, but then he realizes that he does need Red Hood, considering the fact that when the Titans came and pretty much disrupted his plans, the one thing that he always depended on was the one person he had tied up in the chair, which was Jason, which I found interesting. I do like the fact they tried to introduce Oracle, but Oracle from the comic book sense, not from the Justice League Unlimited sense, where Oracle kind of looked like Brother Eye, which again I'm not opposed to it, but but of course, the whole thing of Crane hacking into Oracle and using Oracle the same way that Batman was using Oracle, I just thought that, okay, well, they're trying to say, well, Jason pretty much gave them access to everything. See that, to the point to where Barbara Gordon had to disable Oracle, even though Robin did not want to. And then the whole Starfire angle. I am loving the whole Starfire / Blackfire situation, because you can tell they have these little moments they want to bond, and then you still have that moment of, I still hate you because you killed my parents. And then it's like, well, your parents tried to kill me first, and at the same time, you were seen as the poster child. So it's kind of nice to see that up and down moment that they have. And the sad thing about it is Blackfire kind of has a thing for Superboy, which I find, which was getting a little bit interesting at the end, because Superboy may have crept up in the Black Forest and got lost. But again, it's a solid episode on that. Of course, it is starting to show Jason's redemption angle a little bit. I was kind of hoping to see a little bit more Tim Drake, but I think that'll be later on in the series. I'm kind of hoping they do show Raven eventually, as far as where she's been this entire time. But I think the next couple of episodes in Titans are going to pretty much pick that up. But 51% was a great episode. Now, the reason why you're probably wondering why I told Joe I thought he was going to go with Joe, damn it, Hank at the beginning of this show, was basically because of Marvel's What If the Zombies episode, in which there is no other way I could say this, because instead of saying what if the Avengers became zombies, it was
a 6 out of 10.
I was a what?
It was a 6 out of 10.
I liked it, but I said, damn it, Hank, because they tried to sit there and spoiler alert, because we've already talked about it, but here you go. So, yeah, how they said the zombie story was supposed to work was that, of course, if you guys remember from Ant-Man and the Wasp, that Hank basically went into the quantum realm to go retrieve his wife. They're trying to say his wife, being in the quantum realm, had somehow acquired the zombie virus, and of course, bites Hank. He comes back, bites everybody else, and then then we get the Walking Dead situation on Earth, even to where the Avengers are affected. Joe, you get that look on your face. What's wrong?
No, I mean, this episode was kind of good and kind of bad in ways. Like, they are not like the Marvel zombies where they're fully coherent. So a lot of them actually being able to still use their powers
was a little off
as zombies doesn't make sense.
Fair.
Especially for like Doctor Strange and Wong.
That's fair.
That kind of bothered me. I did have to turn the subtitles on because I swear to God, I thought I heard the Okoye drop the F-bomb with Scott Lang.
Probably did.
No, we had.
You turned the subtitles on just to find out.
Well, you're going to, and Josh said you're going to F up your glass. And I had to turn on the subtitles. Like, wait, what?
You doing the subtitles just to make sure.
Up your jar. Because I thought you were saying, oh, you're going to fuck up your jar.
I thought I'm sorry, go ahead.
The whole they kept having really weird tonal shifts. Like, really, really dire Spider-Man Zombieland YouTube video. Dire.
I thought that was cool. It kind of was a nod to the current Spider-Man.
Ruined the pacing to me a little bit.
I mean, Spider-Man's How to Survive a Zombie Apocalypse. I thought it was cool. Especially the fact that the cave.
If the rest of the tone of the episode was like that, I'd be fine with that, because I'm all for either Zombieland or Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
I will say right now, I am not a big zombie person, especially like the gore factor. But if it's like a comedy, like the two I mentioned, I'm down. I'm down all day long. I just can't stand like the overly gory stuff. And this was not that, but you're mixing two very distinct pacings and tones. I bet tones is the better thing. Okay. So when you stack those together, they just don't sync up to me.
That's fair. Kelly.
Not to mention having Scott does outright say, "Hey, I process trauma through jokes," but
that was funny.
Seeing Hope's giant zombified body and making a joke of that didn't sit too well with me.
It was his. I was different. Every dad joke was a zombie joke. Kelly, yeah, I thought that was weird. I thought it was a little crazy, but I'm not a zombie fan. Well, I mean, the Marvel Zombie What If episode did have its ups and downs. I like the fact they kind of did a nod to the What If Spider-Man story with the Spider-Man with his cape. I couldn't remember if it was Supreme. Was it Supreme Spider-Man as far as the cape, or was it a different name?
No, I want to say that's actually a wink and a nod to Spider-Verse, because remember, he makes that joke of Spider-Man with the cape and the clap. Spider-Man doesn't have capes.
And yet, there's a cape. And I thought that was cool. But also,
one thing I did find really good is even undead Wanda is still the strongest being on that world. Also, if Thanos is still in his full facilities and able to use the gauntlet, can he just make the reality so where none of this happened?
You would think so. But I think they were kind of going. I think where they wanted to go with the story was kind of trying to say it was always like they try to make Spider-Man that center of hope. Like they try to sit there and go, why are you always so optimistic? Why are you always, you're always upbeat?
Oh, and by the way, this is also the first time we have Uncle Ben mentioned by name by Tom Holland's Spider-Man, so people can let that go.
Yeah. So
also going to wink and nod the original Marvel Zombie comic with Black Panther.
That is also
because that is what Hank was doing to keep himself cognizant, was slowly lopping off parts of Black Panther and eating them to maintain his sanity and his cognitiveness.
At the same time, replacing that with the Vision, but Vision was basically Vision was governing people. Let's be honest, he was the governor from Walking Dead. You're using other people to feed Wanda, and he's like, why don't you go ahead and put her down? I don't have the heart to. I'm like, you need to put her down.
He probably also doesn't have the power to.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you got a point there. You do got a point. Even with the Infinity Stone, that's still a problem. So you got a point. But it was just a weird. I looked at it. I kind of watched it multiple times. It was a weird retelling of really Infinity War Endgame in a way. It was a weird retelling. It's like if it wasn't Thanos that took us out, it was zombies. And of course, seeing Cap as a zombie and Bucky with the iconic line, "Well, guess it's the end of the line, Cap." Just as I cut you in half with your own shield, and of course it's kind of funny to see Jon Favreau's Happy character with the Iron Man with the Iron Man glove from Civil War, just bam, bam. I said, why are you doing the sound?
See, I flash back to Team 4 Star Wars, Trunks and Krillin and Jero's like going pew 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 pew.
It was still funny, but you got a point though. The fact of seeing how they did that, I mean, it was an interesting episode. It was a weird episode, but I can see why you give it a 6. I see why you give it. I'm sorry.
I said besides, the moment Hulk becomes a zombie, it's all over for everybody, period.
Right. And the fact that the Hulk only came out, so the Hulk, I mean, it's kind of funny. They try to use that same story. It's like, Hulk, buddy, I need you to come out right now. It's like, I really need you to be a hero right now. As zombies are piling on top of him. And he finally comes out. And we never really see the end between him and Wanda.
Oh, he's dead. Yeah, or he's a zombie by the end of that. Wanda's got that.
Probably so. The pew 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 was hilarious. Yeah, it was hilarious, Kelly. But anyway, I still say it was a great episode. I had no problems with it, but I think it was cool. But aside from that, some other things I just want to go very quickly over. Sony did have their state of play. Very good state of play, actually. For all those that are wondering, I'm just going to go quickly down the list and go over the 2 things that I think everybody's going to love to see. If you have a PS5, you're going to be happy. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is being remade for PS5. Project Eve actually looks very well. We do have a release date for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which is a Borderland D&D game, which will actually be out March 25th of 2022. Forspoken, which again is another game I'm looking forward to. It's PS5 exclusive. Will be out spring of 2022. Rainbow Six Extraction actually has a somewhat tentative date, January of 2022.
So I noticed that's a 3-man squad shooter fighting off extraterrestrial zombie-like things.
Yeah.
What have I been doing as of late? I
Oh,
wonder.
we both been doing it, but not together with Aliens Fire Team. And I still need to get back on there because I like the new gun, I like the new class. But I'll get into that shortly.
Okay.
But again, let me get down this real quick. So, aside from Rainbow Six Extraction, which will actually be out January 2022, Alan Wake, which is going to be remastered, will be out October 5th, 2022. I mean, it's interesting. At least I
Give
think.
or take.
Give or take, it's interesting. GTA 5 will be remastered on March 22nd. March 3rd, March of 2022, which a lot of people were kind of mad about because they thought it was going to be a new GTA game. No, you're getting the 5th one remastered.
I believe Gilbert Godfrey put this best. You fools.
Pretty much. Ghostwire Tokyo did actually finally get a trailer for it. Love that. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy will be coming out this year, October 26th, 2021 on all platforms. Vampire Blood Hunt will be released a little bit later this year in 2021. Deathloop, which if I had a PS5, I'd be looking forward to it.
Oh my god, that thing just needs to come out so it quits taking up time in our PlayStation stuff.
September 14th, sir.
Oh, thank God.
September 14th, it comes out. The Uncharted collection for PS5 will be remastered. Comes out next year. And then they came out with 3 trailers. Oh, by the way, Gran Turismo 7 will actually happen on PS5. I didn't get the Q trailer up for this one. I apologize. Marvel actually released a short trailer for Marvel Wolverine, which, again, we know nothing about the story. All we have is 20 seconds of a trailer, and you see the claws come out.
And we know Insomniac's doing it, so it's quality. And I'm saying this now. Fast travel better be him finding Colossus points and him being fastball in special places.
Yeah, they do the fastball special. But you're right. If they do the fastball special, let's be honest, they're a little bit.
No, that's the only way they're allowed to fast travel in that game.
True. Now, last 2 games I want to get to before we get into other stuff. Again, these are 2 games I believe that everybody was looking forward to. Of course, if you were watching State of Play or you've been told this by others, yes, there will be another Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, which, as the trailer is playing right now, will have both Peter Parker and Miles Morales in there, and also one very special character that, of course, this is muted, and you're probably wondering why it's muted because of DCMA rules. But they did actually show one character which I want to show very quickly, which everybody is looking forward to, including myself. As I'm waiting for this, I apologize, guys, because I didn't actually have this queued up very well. So apologies. But as it's getting to it, I'm sorry?
We have 2 characters.
Right. So aside from the one they're about to show now, which again is going to be Venom, which again, I am loving the fact that not only is it Venom, it's going to be voiced by Tony Todd. Now, for all those who don't know what Tony Todd is, go to Candyman. Go to his long list of things he has voiced over. But now he'll be voiced over as Venom. But I forgot, who were the other character they mentioned, Joe?
The narrator was Kraven.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Kraven. Sorry. I couldn't have forgot that one too. But of course, as you can see from right there, guys, it will come out in 2023. There is no other date for that yet for 2023. But again, I'm looking forward to it because Marvel's Spider-Man was great. And Spider-Man Miles Morales was also great. I had no issues with it. So I'm kind of curious to see where they go in this with Spider-Man 2, considering the fact that it might be dual play. One person might play as Spider-Man, one person might play as Miles Morales. It's hard to say that, but we will find out. Also, the other game, which I was so glad we finally got a trailer for, is God of War Ragnarok. Now, of course, it's being produced by Santa Monica Studios, and I am freaking excited. I know I'm repeating it 3 times just because God of War is one of my all-time favorite games, and the remake that they did a little bit about 2-3 years ago that was done on PlayStation 4 was beautiful. It took me back to my roots. I still go back and go play it every now and then. But now, as you can see, this is actually following up with Ragnarok. Now, spoiler alert, if you haven't played God of War, Ragnarok is pretty much the end of the North. If you're into Norse mythology, you know that's pretty much the end of the gods realm. Of course, if you've never played God of War, realize that Baldur, who is now killed, and that's the woman you see right there, is Faye, his mother, who was initially the queen of the Valkyries, who now has a bone to pick with Kratos. obviously. Of course, you see Atreus, who we now know from the last game that he will eventually become Loki. And of course, for all those that don't remember, about a certain tapestry that was on the game, that was on the wall in the last game of God of War, that does show that Kratos does die and Loki does give birth to a world serpent. So it's going to be interesting where they go with this. Again, this is just a trailer for it. There is not at this time a release date for God of War. It could be 2022. It could be 2023. But at this point, this beautiful trailer, which I've watched hundreds of times, is exactly what we're getting. And I myself cannot wait to be able to see it and play it in all its glory. But also, before I get done, hand this over to Joe. I did want to speak about this. If you guys have not seen it, the trailer for the Matrix Resurrection. I almost said Revolutions. The Matrix Resurrection trailer did come out, and people have had mixed reviews about it. I even said it on my Facebook podcast my Facebook post and my IG post that it's different. It's different just because the simple fact of the matter, guys, that it's not following the trilogy, which it shouldn't, because for all those that were following Reloaded and Revolutions, you realize this is all going in cycles. At the same time, there was this inclination that maybe the machines in Zion maybe had an understanding and that a Matrix only existed for people that's been in it. However, in this case, it seems that because this is now being written and directed by Lisa Wachowski and not the Wachowski brothers, it's going to be interesting where they go with this, because now there is a new Morpheus that's being played by the same lead actor in Candyman. And of course, the story at this point is that, Neo, as far as realizing that his reality may not be what it seems. But again, it just looks interesting. Now, the trailer is out there for you guys to enjoy mute free, because like I said, we're DMCA rules. We aren't not playing the sound on it just because we would get banned if we do. So I think it's great. I think it does give a nod to the previous Matrix movies. But Joe, have you seen the trailer? And if so, what you think about it?
So my thoughts on God of War.
I'm sorry, I just completely just passed you on that.
So I am looking forward to God of War. I did the first one. I actually did a no axe run, which actually made the game a lot easier because it was able to get enemies into stun to stun kills a whole lot quicker.
Yeah.
But they did say that this is the second part of a trilogy, so I want to see how this Ragnarok is only the middle story.
Yeah.
That seems interesting to me, unless the third story they just cut straight to the Japanese pantheon, which is weird.
There is 4 different ways. They did show that tapestry three different cultures. So Norse mythology.
Yeah, that's a little weird. I do look forward to seeing where this goes. I want to see a team up between Tyr and Kratos. That just seems fun.
That looks like that's going.
I want to see like Thor, they killed my sons. They were endangering my child. And Thor just being okay, that's fair.
I just love that fact. You look like a calm and reasonable person. Are you a calm and reasonable person?
Now, as for the Matrix, I believe this is a very akin to Final Fantasy VII Remake, where this is what I would classify as a requel, where it's both a remake and a sequel at the same time.
Okay.
Because we have obvious notes of, he slightly remembers Trinity, and there's something there.
Yeah.
So, but we also have a brand new, younger Morpheus, and some plots of the first, but if you pay attention, some continuation from the third. So this is basically the Matrix rebooting everything, and
yeah, it's a new cycle.
As I said, as you said, a new cycle, and very much like I said, this is what I would classify as a requel.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see it as the beginning. I can see that. Wow, I almost said the beginning of the end, Neo. I almost went into the freaking line. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That actually, the Matrix Resurrections will actually be coming out this Christmas, which again, a lot of movies are coming out this Christmas. Spider-Man is coming out this Christmas. Matrix Resurrections is coming out this Christmas. I think I'm missing one other movie that's also coming out this. Oh, Sing 2 is coming out this Christmas. So
okay, well, we know one of those 2 is going to fight, and Sing's going to be for the kids. Even though I love the original Sing, and that was so good.
I'm still going to go see Sing. I'm a grown. I went to go. I still watch Sing by myself. and still love
The only
it.
problem I have with Sing 2 is that they show basically the whole movie in the trailer again.
Well, that's all children's movies if you think about it.
Yeah, but this one was significantly bad.
Agree, disagree. But
Okay. But no, everything's going to be going out of the way of Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, definitely. Spider-Man No Way Home is definitely going to rule.
I guarantee you Matrix is going to blink.
Well, I mean, it's also on HBO Max too, so that might keep a lot of
Oh,
people.
well, yeah, then they're not getting any of that theater money.
Right. Kelly, I would love to see Miles Morales in live action movies. Well, it's gonna get there eventually. I mean, I can see the MCU eventually bringing Miles Morales into the main picture eventually, but I think they're gonna ride this Tom Holland out for as long as humanly possible, though. Also, so what I'm also getting to, guys, I apologize so much. AEW is making all sorts of moves, especially with Adam Cole and Daniel Bryanson, just being awesome as they are.
Ruby Soho.
Ruby Soho she's getting the shine that she deserves. It is, and I want to say this very quickly. It is amazing to me how AEW is literally pulling the WWE Attitude Era with going on to 4 different shows. But now they have the roster for it. And then the thing about it is with AEW that does so differently from the WWE is that the wrestlers have more creative control over themselves. And you can tell it shines very much.
And healthcare.
I'm sorry, Joe, what were you going to say?
And healthcare.
Oh, yeah, definitely healthcare because, Tony Khan loves giving out healthcare. But also Mick Foley did do a video, which again, I think he's 100% right on, that he said.
Even Booker T said he's 100% right.
Yeah. I mean, they're all coming. I mean, Booker T did say he's 100% spot on that WWE needs to watch what they're doing because WWE still has a lot of talent over there. Like one of my favorites is Keith Lee. I want that man to really.
Well, that man has been squandered.
Yes, but I still.
He could have been champion like a year ago.
Yeah, but I could have sat there and said, like, I wanted him to take the strap off of Lashley because Lashley has actually had a great program, but I think it's time for him to give up the strap. But the problem is, you had Keith Lee and could have gave Keith Lee the rub and could have gave him the strap. It'd have been great. But let's be honest, with Vince now kind of directing NXT because Triple H had a cardiac issue. They didn't say what it was, but let's be honest, he had something to do with his chest that's gonna take him out of NXT for a while, and it's now being produced by Vince McMahon and Bruce Prichard. I'm concerned.
Half of that I'm concerned with. Half of that I'm like,
Because NXT when it's not done by Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Road Dogg. It's just when it was done by them, it was great. But now that Vince is taking over, it's like I'm just not. It doesn't. It disrupts my stomach greatly because I'm sorry.
Get ready for Samoa Joe to lose that belt on the first night.
Of all people that should have went to AEW, should have been Samoa Joe. But anyway,
we do keep getting very obvious giant neon signs from Kevin Owens.
Yeah,
and he's about to become Kevin Steen again. So even though AEW put on their own website, that's it. We're not getting anybody else. Leave us alone.
I would laugh if he says he doesn't because he was so great in Ring of Honor, and that most of these wrestlers can write their own tickets now. Especially a lot of these indie wrestlers that come in, they can write their own tickets, and that should be alarming to WWE right now because. Again, when a lot of people don't know, and this is a real quick story before we go into comic book recommendations, but Adam Cole was not going to be a wrestler in WWE. The new pitch was they were going to make him a manager to be behind Keith Lee. And it's like, and they were going to change his last name because Adam Cole sounded too close to Michael Cole. And they think that people will get them confused. I just leave it at that.
I was going to say, well, that just sounds vintage.
Well played. Well played, sir. Well played, sir. But that's a little blurb. I mean, if you've been watching AEW, whether it's Dynamite, Dark Elevation, or Rampage, I have yet to find a bad show. But, SmackDown and WWE, WWE with Raw and SmackDown and NXT, you could just see. I
believe the South has the saying of, well, bless their hearts.
Pretty much. It's like watching something that you love grow and it just becomes corporate. It's like seeing Stone Cold go. It's like Stone Cold go heel for the first time, but go heel for Vince McMahon, and it's like say it ain't so. That's how it feels.
May God bless and love you, son, because I sure don't.
I felt you were going to a Boondock Saints moment there for a second, but
no, I'm impersonating Conan O'Brien. I'm getting there. I just need another 2 feet and red hair, and I'm there.
With that being said, Joe, what comic book recommendations you got for us this week?
All right. Well, we are kicking off with the Amazing Spider-Man issue 73. This is the penultimate issue to Pete getting the heck out of there and Ben moving on in. So happy times for Joe. This does wrap up the Kindred stuff.
Okay.
A lot of us thought that the Kindred thing would be retconning Brand New Day, but this issue, and this will be spoilers, this issue retcons what is, quite frankly, one of the skeeviest and most ick storylines of Spider-Man there ever was, which is Sins of the Past.
Ugh.
For those of you that need to know what Sins of the Past is, it's where Norman Osborn says, hey, I had 2 kids with Gwen Stacy. Here they are the new Goblins. That's just all sorts of wrong, all sorts of creepy.
Beyond wrong, but go ahead.
So creepy, I have to do my Mr. Wynn voice from Hey Arnold. It's very creepy. So, they retconned the crap out of that to say it's like, no, it was Harry the whole time while he was still alive. And he hired both Chameleon and Mysterio, and Harry engineered clones off of Jackal technology.
Nice.
So Norman was hypnotized by Mysterio to think, oh, I had kids with Gwen. Mary Jane was revealed that she was also hypnotized by Mysterio, thinking that she had caught Gwen sleeping with Norman. Turns out it was Harry the whole time. We also find out that the life model decoys of Harry and Mary and Richard Parker were also engineered by Harry.
Creepy, but okay.
No, this is right before Harry had the redemption arc. This when he was still the insane second Green Goblin.
Ah, okay, you got it. I'm sorry, I was thinking
So
something
yeah,
else.
all of this was engineered by Chameleon, Mysterio, and Harry Osborn while Harry was still alive.
Gotcha.
Like the whole storyline, which makes it so much better.
Okay, because I was gonna say, wait a minute, I was thinking a different storyline, but go ahead.
Yeah, we also learned that what killed Harry was not the Goblin Serum, but Mendelstrom's version of the Super Soldier Serum. Which, if you know who Mendelstrom is, congratulations, you're one of 5 people.
The poison serum?
No, the Super Soldier Serum. It was just his own version of it, which killed Harry.
Right, because he screwed up the formula.
Yeah, no, he just made a bad formula. But yeah. Yeah, so there's a clone of Harry running around, which I guess they'll do something with. I don't know. Kindred has the ability to shapeshift, so it's a possibility that Kindred is both Sarah, Jacob, and Dead Harry all in one body.
That's interesting.
We don't really know. It's super weird. But we at least get to retcon the really creepy storyline of Spider-Man and make it a little bit less creepy.
Yeah, but the Sins of I'm gonna shut up. I was gonna say another.
Yeah,
I was gonna leave that one alone.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So they also toss in this whole Doctor Strange is talking to Mephisto. It's like, what did you do to Parker's soul? This has kind of been a red herring, but it's not too bad. Next issue is the finale for the Nick Spencer run. We do see Peter and Mary Jane get to swing off and do something.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what. Frankly, I don't care because a month after that, Ben Reilly moves in as Spider-Man again, and Joe's all about Ben Reilly.
Okay.
Moving right along, we are going to be looking at Shang-Chi versus the Marvel Universe. This is part 4. The quick and dirty that I can catch you guys up on is Shang-Chi is part of was the master of the hundreds of years old 5 Weapon Society. His dad died, making Shang-Chi deadly fist, and he has just been out collecting his half-siblings to reform the the 5 Weapon Society for forces of good.
Okay.
He finds his little sister Esme, who is Deadly Dagger, his brother, who is Deadly Saber. We in the previous issue, we find that his sister Deadly Staff is actually a mutant who is offered amnesty to Krakoa by Wolverine. So we get a Shang-Chi versus Wolverine fight. And in this issue, they're going after their other sister into the Negative Zone, and they ask Mr. Fantastic for help. And Reed, being Reed, is like, yeah, no. Also, we're not on the planet right now, so we can't help you anyways.
Dang.
So Shang-Chi and his siblings go and infiltrate the Baxter building, find a lot of Herbies, get into the Negative Zone, and we find that it's not his sibling, but we find Shang-Chi's mother. Okay. And then they leave the Negative Zone. And then they try to fight the Fantastic Four, and the Fantastic Four lose.
Well, of course. I mean, that's kind of the Immortal Weapons versus an Immortal Weapon versus. And never mind. But
no, that's it. Next issue, we do Shang-Chi versus Iron Man.
I remember that story. I'm sorry. I'm already laughing. Go ahead.
Jumping over to X-Books, we got Excalibur. This is Excalibur go to the realm of magic, and Dr. Doom needs to come along. Shenanigans ensue. Basically, because Doom is to inherit stuff from Morgan Le Fay, but Doom can't enter the realm of magic because Doom is Doom. And when he broke up with Morgan Le Fay, he can't technically enter the realm unless invited, so he's having to go to Excalibur.
Persona non grata at its finest.
Well, no, Doom is pretty much just like posturing left and right, and Betsy, who is still Captain Burns, like, Victor, shut up and let's just get this over with. Most of the book.
Dang. Oh, wow.
Meanwhile, Gambit's trying to out-gamble elves, trolls, and sorcerers in a gambling den.
That scene itself is just worth it.
Oh, yeah, it is. Especially considering he wins.
Wow. I saw that going differently.
I mean, there's still explosions, but
I saw that going so differently.
We also learned that they are being hunted by orc cyborgs. I don't really know the technical term for it, but these guys are what are called they follow the Ford Master Federal, who is basically kind of like the robot maker for King Arthur, because this is the realm of Arthur, still technically, is what the other world is.
Okay.
But now we learned that they are what is called Friends of Mordred, Friends of Arthur's son. And the reason Arthur casts Mordred out in this continuity is being a friend of Mordred is code for mutant. So we learned that Mordred was a mutant.
Interesting.
And then it just kind of ends there. Doom gets what he wants, and it's Doom. It doesn't take too much to make that man happy.
Because there's always one more. Let's be honest, it's Doom. He's never satisfied.
I just like that he's like so pompous this whole thing, and Betsy's just having none of it. It's great. Jumping over to DC, we got Green Lantern Annual 2021. Jessica Cruz officially becomes a Yellow Lantern. How this comes to be is Jessica Cruz defeats Lysidrak and 2 other Sinestro Corps members on the space station, Ripley style, because that was straight up an homage in a previous comic to Aliens, and she takes out all 3 of high-tier Sinestro Corps, scares them so badly that Lysidrak's ring flies off her finger onto Jessica's finger.
Dang.
So Jessica's the only proper thing, brings them back to Sinestro. Sinestro's like, that works for you. And Sinestro, and of course she's questioning things, and, you know, Sinestro's like, you can go anytime you want. I mean, the Green Lantern Corps is kaput. You want a ring, I mean, you technically earned it. I'll even let you be the Sinestro Corps member for 2814. You can go back to Earth anytime you want.
Still, the fact that she scared
So
the
he
ring off of her. You scared the ring of fear off of her.
Yeah. So Jessica does take the ring, if only as a means to travel back to Earth, because she is theoretically stuck on New Korgar without a ring because the Green Lantern rings don't work.
Okay.
So she encounters a alien pirate ship, and Hal Jordan flies in with Macross jets constructs, which I'm unsurprised by that, but it's how. Anyways, moving on. Less said about Hal, the better. Jessica just talks to Hal for a bit. They solve the pirate ship problem, and Jessica's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna keep the ring."
Nice.
She's like, Hal's like, "Is there reasons?" Like, I mean, there's only you, and there's no explaining why your ring still works. And I still want to do some good in this galaxy, and I can do good with this ring. So, of course, Sinestro's just like in the background. Excellent. Here's a power battery.
Not the mighty bird, not the mighty birds. Mr. Bear. Excellent.
Pretty much. So, moving over to Green Lantern proper. As I said before, this book is half good, half I'm barely reading it.
Dick.
So the John stuff, still don't care about the John stuff. I am not reading Green Lantern to see a man with a blaster. I love John. He has been one of my favorites. But I am not reading a Green Lantern book to read a man that's not Green Lantern.
Continue. I'm gonna pick my battles on that one. Go ahead.
No, you are more than welcome. By all means, please voice your opinion on this.
No, because that's gonna go down a rabbit hole. That's why I'm like, dude, that's going down a rabbit hole.
He's been other things. I loved him when he was a Dark Star. I loved him when he was Kyle's mentor. But when you are the center focus of the book in a Green Lantern book, I need you to be Green Lantern. Now, the other half of the book does deal with everybody else.
Yeah.
So Soldier Mullins is going, and Simon are going after Teen Lantern. This is from the last issue, but from their perspective. So she hot drops Simon in, catches Teen Lantern, they subdue her. Jessica lets them go. Meanwhile, Joe and Sinestro have a talk, and Joe just outright says, "Did you blow up the core battery?" He's like, "No." And besides, if I did, do you really think I would keep that to myself? She's like, "No." And even Sinestro's like, "I like you. Unlike everybody else, you're straight up. You know what you want. You're powerful enough and recognize that power enough to take what you need, and you need to do what you can to get the job done." And Joe's like, "Yeah, we're leaving." And even Sinestro has a good laugh on it. It's like, "Look, I've read your file. And what is it, Sinestro? What have you learned? You're a mass murderer, a dictator, ruthless, methodical, focused, gifted tactician, great hand-to-hand fighter, and crazy about 16 cats in a 2-cat bag."
Wow.
And Sinestro's like, "You are a delight, and from your perspective, I cannot deny any of that. So I like you. By all means, take what you need, leave the planet, we'll be in contact."
That's still funny.
And of course, he says the same thing to her. It's like, "And when you're tired of being Green Lantern, there's a yellow ring waiting for you."
Dang, not the sales pitch at the end. Not the sales pitch at the end.
No, the first part of this book, fantastic. Joe Mullins is great. I like that Simon has officially become kind of like the War Machine Green Lantern. Because he literally is just in a War Machine outfit now.
I think I saw a screenshot of that where it's like it's not full on War Machine, but it might as well be.
Yeah, pretty much. Blasting right along, we have the finale for Infinite Frontier. So it's President Superman versus Darkseid. Everyone's still fighting. Everything's still going on. Todd brings Roy back to the brink of being a zombie because their powers are somewhat the same, which is weird. As I said, President Superman just goes on and tries to fight Darkseid. It does not go well for anybody. Machine Head, which is that Iron Man ripoff, tries to appeal to Darkseid. Darkseid just straight up Omega Beams the dude. He has no part of it. And the interesting thing is, this version of Darkseid, now that he's the amalgamation of all Darkseid, his Omega Beams are straight black.
Nice. So he does have the anti-life equation.
I don't know what he has, but like Darkseid is not playing like President Superman immediately goes after him. Darkseid's like the battle's over, and then just immediately Omega Beams everybody, and it doesn't kill them, but it just teleports everybody where they need to be. He's just like, we're done for today. I don't have time for this.
I think Dark Beams would be. I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on that. I think Dark Beams would be. He has the anti-life equation, but I could be wrong.
There's no telling with him. So we flash back. Darkseid has the Black Lantern ring and immediately crushes it. It's like, well, this ring is useless to me.
Dang.
We see that he is forging alliances with other beings of power. Somebody I'm not familiar with. The Upside Down Man from Justice League Dark, Eclipso, Necron, and the Black Lantern ring. And then we see an epilogue, and Barry's still running in the Speed Force, and we don't know. He winds up on Earth. He winds up in the second multiverse, which is the multiverse where Infinite Crisis is still happening.
So he's still being the world's. He's still being the world's longer-lasting battery.
Yeah, well, he's out of that, but he's gone into a different multiverse altogether.
Dang.
Someone acknowledges that this is Multiverse 2. So he's not even in his own multiverse anymore.
Interesting.
But we meet Pariah again from Crisis on Infinite Earths, which Barry has never met because he was not there for Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Right.
So Pariah touches Barry, and Barry's transported back to Earth Flash .1. Which is 1950 style artwork where Barry is with Iris, his children, Wally J. Wallace as a very young boy, and Barry's mom. And it ends there.
That's interesting. So it's pretty much he's going to run into Jay Gordon again. Eventually, it sounds like
he's there.
Oh, so they didn't acknowledge that he's already ran into him.
No, this is like a 50s version of everybody because Wally's in his classic costume.
Oh, okay. That's different. But
the next storyline for this will be picked up in 2022. And the final comic for tonight, I do know you're reading this, so we'll keep it really, really vague.
Uh-oh. Go ahead.
We're running low?
Huh?
We're running low?
No, you're good. Keep going.
Okay. Last book of tonight is Blue and Gold issue 2. So Blue and Gold, it's the Blue Beetle Booster Gold comic.
Go ahead.
No, I'll keep it super vague. Don't worry. Ted is saving Booster from goofy stuff. More goofy stuff happens, and Booster has to live stream it. And then real life catches up with Ted. Meanwhile, Booster is trying to do yet another sales pitch to the public. And Ted's like, don't do it. And Ted's watching the live stream. Ted's like, don't do it. Don't do it. And we're screwed.
That's still funny. I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, that's the book. Like I said, I'm keeping it super vague because I know you are actively reading that.
Yes, because I love the first issue already.
What probably do is Extreme Carnage, which Marvel's doing this weird thing where there are a lot of events going on, but half of them aren't even being advertised.
Probably just to keep if they're doing it in conjunction with the Carnage movie coming out, that would explain a lot.
Yeah, this is the Extreme Carnage book where each issue focuses on a singular symbiote. Well, Carnage is trying to take over said symbiotes via a new power the Carnage symbiote has to enslave their minds and infect them with himself. In this case, we catch up with Carnage's personal spawn Toxin, which is stronger than Carnage, and his new host, which is a kiddo. In the Mindscape, Toxin tries to fight Carnage. It seemingly does not go well as Carnage rips off Toxin's head in the Mind Space. And then Toxin in the Mind Space kills Carnage's attempt by eating him with his neck.
That's different.
Yep. Anyway, so we learned that the next one she's going after is Agony, which is the other female symbiote. Meanwhile, Toxin, their partner, along with Anti-Venom and Silence, which is the Scream symbiote that has been mixed with the Anti-Venom symbiote DNA to make a whole new anti-symbiote. So instead of Scream, she's Silence.
Yeah, okay.
But Toxin, they're talking to each other, and Toxin just pulls the Spider-Man of just lowering himself into the shot. It's like, so, what are we going to do? And it's like, how are you alive? It's like, don't worry about it. Because last time Toxin was around, he was nuts and on Eddie, and Eddie had to kill him. But apparently he survived.
That's still funny. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just like Flash Thompson, who's Agent Anti-Venom's like, can we trust you? It's like, Venom's like, or Toxin's like, do I not look friendly?
No.
And besides, with Carnage running around, you pretty much need everybody on board you can get aboard. And Silence and Anti-Venom just like, yeah, he's right.
When Carnage running around, it's like, do you trust me? Why not? Like, you seem like a reasonable, you seem like a calm and reasonable person.
That is the books this week. Next week, we did have a Justice League Infinity, but since we're on a short time frame, we'll do that. But that's what I got this week.
Okay. Yeah, because we are kind of running short. Zoom didn't want to work with us, guys. That's the unfortunately downside of technology. Is why we're back on Google Meeting on short notice. And Google Meeting, unless you pay for it, which it seems to be the way of the world, if we want stuff to last longer than an hour, we got to pay for it. Hey, OnlyFans. Anyway, no, we're not going OnlyFans. This is not going to OnlyFans. We are not going to put that on the platform, although we have nothing against OnlyFans. If that's where you choose to put your stuff, that is upon you. We're not saying to do that. But anyway, as I'm trying to get off this horrible segue I just created, that being said, Joe,
I'm letting you flounder.
You just gotta let me drown out there in the deep end.
Oh, like you wouldn't believe you put yourself in that thing.
I was trying to find a way out of that, but it didn't work. But
it was at that point Will learned he was an earthbender because he just dug his own grave.
God. That was definitely a crash and burn. But before we do our sign offs, guys, I do as Joe usually says and I usually say, definitely support your local comic book stores, especially for ours, Rick's Comic Book City, which has 3 locations, one in Clarksville, Fort Campbell, and Donaldson. If I'm right about that, Joe.
You are indeed.
Okay. I know we are going to get to the point. I am going to make it a point that sometime this month we are going to get approval to basically do a live podcast from there. I'm
actually going to talk to her next week.
Cool. So once we get the okay to do that, we'll let you guys know that we will be doing it live from live from Rick's Comic Book City, and they're very gracious people to allow us to do that there, do our podcast. Aside from that, like I said, support your local comic stores. Yes, I know there's Amazon, there's Comixology, there's plenty of other places you can read your comic books. There's nothing like a real one in your hands. And also, it does help to keep those places of publications up and running. Also, if you are unable to get to a comic book store, understand libraries carry comic books and anime and manga as well. Everything up to date. So if you are not able to get to a comic book store, your local library is your next best source. At the cost of a library card, which I still believe they're under $1. I don't know if they went up in the last 50 years, but I think getting a library card is still $1. But use that to basically get you guys the same things that we're able to enjoy. But like I said, these bastions are still there for us to enjoy, so definitely do so. Kelly, that will be awesome. I'm afraid to ask what that comment was toward because I'd hate to see it. I hate to see a Git Bit podcast on OnlyFans. Actually, it kind of makes me wonder: are there any podcasts on OnlyFans? Because if not,
probably not.
There's a market for that. Anyway,
not without a considerable amount of moaning on it.
You ain't
We
wrong.
could just play loops of Professor Xavier and Jean Grey from the '90s X-Men.
Oh well, Rogue in the Savage Land.
No, Rogue just screamed. There's a difference.
I had to stop myself on saying something that was definitely going to have to make me go back and change the YouTube setting on this to be okay. This one, adults. But Joe, where can they find you at, sir? The socials and all that good stuff.
So we have both been playing Aliens Fire Team. I have found I have found what makes the phalanx fun. I tried it with flamethrower. Your basic shotgun powered up is the way to go.
Okay. Because I still love.
I am going to be taking a break from that because Tales of Arise has come out. So I have shifted titles. It is now The Adventures of Gun Princess and Sword Dude.
I was like, you're the second person. You are the second person I know that has sat there and gave that title. That's the reason I'm cracking up laughing right now. Between you and another friend I know that both play, and it's like Adventures of. Anyway, Joe, tell them where they can find you, man. This is yeah.
All right, so if you want to watch me stream, which I will probably do a little bit tonight, I'm still pretty with it. Twitch.tv/Joe Tonello. My Twitter handle is Joe Tenlo, but on there will be Joe Italian last name. And Instagram, I think the one I'm using the most right now is Nashville Scarlet Spider. You can find me in those places.
Yeah, because I want to get back on the Aliens Fire Team, but it's going to be probably about 3 a.m. before I even get near my PlayStation right now. But that being said, I do want to also shout out some other podcast brethren that we do have. Shadow at Shadow Creative Entertainment on YouTube. You can definitely find him as he will probably be posting very soon. He did actually post recently his review of Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. I'm more than sure that he will have a review of the What If episode of the Marvel What If episode of Zombies. So definitely check him out on YouTube at Shadows Creative Entertainment. Also, some other friends of mine, Ari and Gee, present Geek Salad. You can also find them on YouTube and Facebook. Definitely check them out as well, as they do dive into the world of geekdom and nerddom and just talk about things that they find interesting. And also my other friend, Vaughn, Big VZA Dot. You can usually find him about West on Facebook, Big VZA Dot on socials, where he has his 2 shows, Smoky Trailer Sundays, every Sunday from 6:30 to 9. And of course, his RAF, which is like America's Funniest Home Videos, except done by World Star, every Tuesday from 6:30 to 9 p.m. as well. So you can definitely check them all out. Definitely like, share, and let people know, because all we're trying to do is just grow our little community. That's what we are, a community. We're just a bunch of guys that love to talk about video games and comic books and television shows and superhero movies, things of that nature. And trust me, the winter is coming, but the movie season seems to be still in full force. What do you say, Kelly? They're actual podcast, non-sexual OnlyFans. I hate to see what a sexual podcast is on OnlyFans, but that's just me.
I just told you, it's nothing but moaning for 50 minutes.
Then at that point, you're just a creeper, though, wouldn't you? Just to listen to this, just audio for 50 minutes?
I'm fairly certain that's how half the people on Twitch do stuff now. Isn't that just AMS or hot tub stuff?
Touche indeed. As he literally takes a sip from a Spider-Man cup as he makes the point. But with that being said, guys, where you can find me.
I like my 28-ounce coffee cup.
Oh, I'm not hating. I could use some coffee right now, actually.
20-ounce coffee cup.
But the link at the bottom you see in red, guys, copy paste that in your browser will take you to my link tree to where you'll be able to see the YouTube and Facebook posts for all of my podcasts, How the Pepper Got Here, Git Bit, and of course the Off-Limits Podcast. My IG handle at the top in the top left corner is Blackbox447. Definitely like and share there, as I like to post things of reviews of video games and movies and just workout stuff. I'm not as much in shape as Joe is, but I'm trying to get there, so I sometimes do post workout stuff and inspirational stuff, but just go ahead and like and follow. That being said, speaking of Joe, I point this out because Joe is a healthcare professional, and no matter how you cut the record on this, guys, please get vaccinated. Please get the shot if you ain't already had it. Please mask up, because right now Tennessee is number 1 and something that we shouldn't be preaching about. And at the same time,
we're number 1 in the world. Number 1 in the world.
It's like the things that we're number 1 about. But above all else, guys, get the shot. Stay vaccinated. Please protect yourself. Again, it's not just about you. It's about protecting everybody. We're not going to get back to the normal we once knew. We will get back to some sense of normalcy. But that's only until everybody finally gets the freaking hint. Aside from that, guys, the last thing about Git Bit Podcast, like I said before, we will be back next Friday. Hopefully under better circumstances again. Technical difficulties did kind of have this rush a little bit. But if you like what we did, please let me know. If you didn't like what we did, please let me know. And if also there's things that we missed, things that you want to cover, things that you want me and Joe to talk about, definitely let us know. Definitely at the Git Bit Podcast Facebook page or the Git Bit Podcast YouTube page. And we'll be able to see that and include that and stuff that we talk about from here on out. So, with that being said, Joey, last words before we call it a night?
Nah.
As he's made his point about Twitch and Reddit, because I was gonna think there is one girl that literally is a Twitch superstar because all she does is eat in her bra for the world to see. Now that I think about it, that's all she does. She doesn't answer anybody. She just eats. America. But anyway, that being said, he's been Joe. I've been Will. This has been the Give It Podcast for night, guys. Thank you all for watching. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and we will get through this. Peace.
Okay, see you.